Hey guys, it's Chris here from Card Designs on Instagram. Um, and I got some requests to do a tutorial on my DeAndre Jordan piece, um, but I've decided to do it on Steph Curry. Um, so I'm going to show you how to get this into this. Okay, so you can see how my file structure is set up. The background base color. I like to pick a lighter gray, maybe a 30% gray. Um, but you can pick whatever you think would go best with your player design. Um, then there's the background texture, the background powder, the background texture, lighting, your actual player, the glow, and then the contrast at the end or top of the file to kind of make everything pop and bring it all together. Um, so let's get started. So for the background powder, powder explosions, I like to layer 3 separate colors, usually the team colors behind the player. I think this really helps them pop, and then you can add logos, you can add city skylines, you can add whatever you want into the powder. And that's always a cool effect. Okay, so pick your brush. It could be a powder brush, could be any sort of brush you want. I downloaded the set from Creative Market on the it's called debris brush set. There's like 35 brushes, but it's fantastic. So I recommend that if you're trying to create this effect. But it could work with whatever you want. So we're going to select the eyedropper tool. That's hotkey I. Just pick whatever color you think would go great with Steph. Darker blue. Size. All right. And behind that, I like to layer with kind of the team's secondary color. That's the yellow. Go back to the brush. Pick a different brush. You can use the bracket keys to make the brush size get bigger. The right bracket makes it bigger. The left bracket makes it smaller. I think that's a hotkey that everyone should know. All right, just add some brush splatter. Kind of just whatever looks good. There is no right or wrong answer. Just whatever you want to experiment with. Hotkey to get it to black and white. It's just D for default colors. To switch between foreground and background, press X on your keyboard. All right, so we'll add a little bit of white pop in there. And then if you want to add a city skyline or logo or whatever, place that inside your background powder folder. Bring it in. It'll be brought in. It'll look like this. And so how do we put that inside the powder? Okay. So first you're going to make it black and white. I do an adjustment layer. So we'll go adjustment, black and white. To get that to only be specifically on the city image or the logo image, press Alt. I don't know what that is on Windows. Whatever the Alt Option key on Mac is. Hold that down, and you'll get this little button that'll help you make it specifically linked to only this layer. Great tool, great feature. Everybody should know that. All right. So to cut this out, we're going to hit Command on the Mac keyboard to select all of the blue brushwork, the furthest or the closest one to us, and then we're going to go into a mask, and it's now hidden everything else that's not inside the blue. It's hidden the city away. So we're going to do that. But we have these sharp lines. So we have these sharp, these sharp edges because the photo didn't fill the whole brush, pattern. So what we're going to do, select a nice soft brush from your brush palette. Go to black, set black to the foreground color, and we're just going to paint in. We're going to paint in the edges to create a nice even kind of flow from the image to the powder. All right, and then from there, go to multiply to get to layer over. It depends, just mess around with it. I like to do the multiply, but sometimes for certain images it makes it too dark, so we'll just keep it on a normal setting and just lower the opacity to let the blue show through. All right. All right, so once you're done with that, the background still looks a little flat. We need something, we want something else, in this gray area so it doesn't look, so flat and boring. So for that, we'll go to our next folder, the background texture folder. Make a new layer, and then go to Filter, Render, Clouds. And when you do this, it's gonna make a random cloud pattern from whatever your foreground and your background colors are. So do that. It'll create this, but if you want to make it, I don't know, we do like a yellow and a blue. Creates a yellow and blue cloud pattern. So that's something that you can mess around with. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer to any of this. Just whatever you think looks best and whatever you think looks pretty cool. But I don't want the yellow and blue. I like just the black and white. Just go back, D and X to switch it back. Filter, Render, Clouds. All right, so we get this. So we're going to create two of these cloud textures. Do the second one, make a new layer, filter, render, clouds. Again, so I have these two. We have these two cloud patterns on top of our background pattern, and now we're going to mess with the blend settings of the layer. The first one we're going to make set to multiply, which hides all of the lighter colors in the pattern. We're going to bring that opacity down to about 50. The second one we'll set to hard light, and then we'll bring that opacity all the way down to maybe 10. Sometimes you go as low as 5. Um, you could bring it up to 25 or whatever if you think that looks better. But I want that at 10. Okay, so we have our background, pretty much set. So now we're going to move on to the lighting. So for the lighting, it's very simple. It's just a gradient map that you put behind your player, and then mess with the blend settings to kind of get the effect that you want. So we're going to go to Adjustment Layer, go to the Lighting folder, go to Adjustment Layer, Gradient, and it's going to make a gradient from, again, your foreground and your background color. So it's going to make it from black to white. But we want the light to focus on Steph right around here. So we're going to go to Reflected. So we want it to be on him, so we're going to go to 0. But you see the white is on this side, so we're going to have to go to Reverse to get it to focus on him. 0. All right. So this is once you have it all set up, your lighting, kind of just your base lighting. That doesn't look right. There's a lot of black here. The white doesn't really show through. So we're going to have to go to Screen in your blend settings for the layer. Go to Screen, and then we're going to lower the opacity to 22 or 20. We'll go with even numbers. We're nice round numbers. All right. Let's go back to this. This 30. All right, we're going to do another one. Another lighting, another gradient. Actually, you know what? That's not. It's not black and white. That was black and transparent. That's not what we want. So make sure. All right, there it is. So make sure that your gradient pattern is going from black to white, not black to transparent. If it's transparent, nothing will show up. It'll just darken around the edges. So we'll do another one. Same thing. We're going to go to gradient. This one's going to be behind the first one. Okay. Same thing. Make it go black to white. Reflected. 0. Reverse. So we're going to get something that looks like, kind of looks like this. Focus that light right on Steph. Bring the scale down to 50. And we'll do the same thing as we did on the other layer. We'll make it screen, and then we'll bring the opacity down to 70. Focus that light on him. We'll bring this one behind the first one. So, but we don't want the lighting. We don't want the lighting to be at his feet. We want to focus it all on his head, the ball, his arm, the top of the jersey. So we're gonna add a layer mask. So go to layer mask. It'll bring up layer mask thumbnail. It'll be all white. I'm going to go to gradient, gradient tool, hotkey is G. I'm going to bring that down and drag from the top down to the bottom, making it hides the lighting at his feet and leaves it only on his upper body. And adjust this. If you don't do whatever you want, if you think it's too bright, if you think it's too dark, it's all something that you just play around with and just see whatever feels right. But he doesn't look that. He's bright. The background's bright, but we need to add some glow. Some glow to Steph. So let's go to our glow layer. We'll make a new layer. The blend settings. We'll go to linear dodge. Linear dodge add. Go to your brushes. Hotkey is B. You'll bring up your last brush you used. This was the big soft brush. We're gonna go to white. See, we can just paint in. We can just paint in these bright colors, the bright whites. So mess with the opacity. Bring the opacity down, and then just paint it. We want to paint it only on his body. We've selected the cutout. And you just come back in. Just paint in the glow. It's without it. It's with it. Deselect, and you can just kind of paint the glow around, just kind of around the body. Just whatever you want. I think that looks okay. All right, and then we'll go to the contrast. So this is kind of the final step. We have this, but it still looks, kind of washed out, kind of faded. It doesn't really pop. Steph doesn't really pop. So we're gonna go to the contrast folder. Another adjustment. Another adjustment layer. Wrong. I need to be doing a gradient map. All right, so gradient map. Let's bring this up, select it. That'll get us into this. We want to reverse that, so stuff doesn't look all weird and inverted. But we're going to reverse that, so it's all black and white. And over here, we're going to go to overlay. Brings that. See, it's a bit more contrast. The blues pop out a little bit more. The shadows are a little bit more pronounced, and the highlights pop out, which is important. But I think it's too much, so we're going to bring this down to. We go to 65. We'll go to 70. Okay. So this is without the gradient map overlay. With the gradient map overlay, if you don't like, where some parts are, maybe this is too white, so you can come back in. You can, select your brush, and go over, with a black color on your layer mask. All right. All right, and then we're gonna add a. We're gonna darken this bottom half. We're gonna darken the whole bottom half, so it kind of brings the focus, sticks the focus on his upper body, the ball, his head, and kind of the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. So we're gonna make another layer, set that behind the gradient map. We're gonna make it black. Make it all black, which is Option Alt key Delete on a Mac. It's the hotkey for to fill it with the foreground color. And then we're going to add a gradient mask. We're going to go Layer Mask, Gradient. We're going to bring it down again. Invert that. So now we have this black layer sitting on top of Glow and Steph and all the lighting, and kind of darkens this, kind of darkens everything up. Might be a bit much, so we're going to bring the the opacity down to, we'll bring it down to 50. So that was before, this is the after. So you just fill the color with a dark black, dark gray, dark blue, whatever you think looks right, and then you just add a gradient to the layer mask, gradient layer mask, and then just adjust the opacity for whatever you think looks right. I think 50 works out just fine. How are we doing? Okay. All right, so something that I've been kind of experimenting with recently is hue and saturation, messing with the hue and saturation of the final colors. So you're gonna add a hue and saturation, go down to adjustment mat, or the adjustment layers, hue and saturation. You'll get this setting will come up, and I've been going to cyanotype, and that'll just make the whole thing this nice cyan color. You're gonna mess with the saturation of that, bring that back down, bring it back up. So it's this kind of muted cyan color. But if we want stuff to pop out, we want the yellows to pop out, we want the ball to pop out. So you go and you quick select your Steph cutout. It's Command Select. You hold Command on a Mac to bring up this little pointer with a dashed box. Click on the layer and it'll select the whole layer for you. You want to just kind of brush in, lower the opacity, the brush real big. Just we can come back and brush this in. But maybe we'll leave this darker on the bottom. We also want to add the yellows to it. Make that pop. So we'll do the same thing. Command Select. It'll select all the yellow. Go in, kind of do the same thing. Just paint that in. And this is all just experimenting with different settings, different blend modes, whatever you think is gonna make it pop the most, or if you want to add your own little style spin to it. This is just something that I've been playing around with and I think looks pretty cool. So we get that. Let's see. All right. And then finally, kind of the final touches are these, these pieces of powder that are, shooting off his jersey. Different parts of it, just different colors, just kind of coming off. A little bit to the shoe. Both shoes, kind of like an explosion of color and powder. So to do that, add this hue and saturation. All right, I'll start another one. So just go to your brush panel, whatever you use to make this, explosion brush. I like to use a powder, from the same powder brush family that I've been using for all this. I'll bring that in, shrink it down. The eyedropper tool. Select the color that you're trying to explode. Brush setting. We're going to just select that. And it looks too dark. Okay. But because we have this, because we put this hue saturation on, whatever we come in and paint is going to be covered by that. So what we're going to need to do is when we're done painting in, parts we want to pop out. Down here, big one on his foot. So when we're done, kind of painting in the yellow explosions that we want, we're going to have to Command select, go up to the hue saturation, and then do Command delete to fill that with black. So then we just have these, just the yellow explosions coming up. So that's where we're at. That's what we're going for. That's what we got. It's close enough. But yeah, it's just a experimentation of whatever styles you like, whatever methods you've picked up from other designers, looking at their work and talking to them. It's all just kind of just a big trial and error and seeing what works right, and if it works right, keep doing it, keep pushing it. But yeah, this is what I got. So if you have any questions, just shoot me a message on Instagram. Leave your comments below, and I'll do another one for you guys in the future. Thanks for watching. Bye.